Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Big Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Saturday, March 16th, 2024. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my college basketball bank shop best bet, you can find it at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games. A lot of semifinal games and final games in the conference tournaments for Saturday. First up, we see Mississippi State taking on Auburn. This one, 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. This is going to be the semifinal game in the SEC Conference Tournament. It's been a fun one to watch so far. We saw a big upset yesterday with Mississippi State beating Tennessee outright in a blowout, 73-56 the final score. This is the time of year for Chris Jan's teams. Last year we saw the same thing from this team as they were, down and out. I think they had one win in their first 8 or 9 games in conference play. They were 1-7 in their first 8 games in the SEC last year. They went on a nice win streak and won some, key games. They won a conference tournament game against Florida, and that was good enough to get them into the tournament. They have the huge win against Tennessee yesterday, but I just don't love this spot for them. I don't love the matchup against an Auburn team that kind of plays that can play a similar style to Mississippi State, but just do it a lot better. And on both ends of the court, Auburn's a top 10 defense and offense in terms of adjusted efficiency. They're a good shooting team, a great rebounding team. They take care of the basketball. That defense is number 1 in the country in 2-point field goal percentage defense, number 2 in effective field goal percentage defense. And they're on a roll, too. Auburn, we saw them take care of business against South Carolina by 31 points in their first conference tournament game of the year, 86-55. They've won 4 straight, including beating this Mississippi State team not too long ago, back on March 2nd, by 15 points. Now, that was a home game for Auburn. We know this team is a program that plays a lot better at home than at these neutral sites or on the road, but I still think they're good enough in this game to win it and cover in the end. So give me Auburn. I'm going to lay the points. Next up, we see St. Joseph's and VCU. This one's going to be a 1 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on CBS Sports Network. Another semifinal game, this one in the A-10 Conference, of course. And St. Joseph's, they got us the win against Richmond. We had them in the premium area on Thursday, an outright win 66-61. They've got 2 top 100 wins in terms of KenPom teams in this conference tournament thus far. But I do think VCU, similar to Mississippi State, this is just not a great matchup for Richmond or for St. Joseph's, as VCU does everything you would need to do well in order to play St. Joseph's. First thing is to defend the perimeter. VCU top 53-point defense. Second thing is hold this team to 1 shot per trip. The worst thing you can do to a team, or the worst thing you can do against a team that takes a lot of threes and makes a lot of threes, is give them a second chance look, because a lot of times that defense, if they can't get that rebound, they're sprawling all over the place, and there's usually a wide open guy on the perimeter. St. Joseph's, not an amazing offensive rebounding team, but they are pretty solid. But VCU should hold them to 1 shot per trip. A good rebounding team from the Rams. VCU's offense has actually really improved this season. We've seen this program in recent years be like just defense first and defense only. But Ryan Odom there, the former Utah State coach, they just play more of a balanced game. I really like what I've seen from him for the most part. Now, yes, at the end of the regular season they struggled, but so far in conference tournament play they've been really strong, and they took down St. Joseph's in the lone matchup of the regular season series and won that game by 4 points. It was a close one, but I think VCU wins this one as well and covers a number. Next, we'll go to the Ivy League as Cornell takes on Yale. This one, 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. This is a semifinal game for the Ivy League tournament. Tomorrow's game will be the final, and the winner of this game will play Brown or Princeton. And in this matchup, Yale lost the last matchup of the season series to Cornell 65-62 on the road, but that was a game where Yale didn't have their best shooting performance. They were 42.3% from the free throw line, 11-26 in that ball game. You add 28% from 3 and 47% from 2. It's crazy to see that Yale was only down by 3 points by the final score, as those shooting numbers are pretty miserable. Cornell on the other side, they made 20-27 free throws. They were decent from the perimeter. And, based on that, you would think Cornell should have won that game in a blowout. But Yale is so strong fundamentally. They forced more turnovers. They had more offensive rebounds. They had more assists as well on their made field goals. So they were, their ball movement was better in that game. I think Yale gets its revenge and gets a huge win here in the conference tournament. I think they are the better team, and I like them in this spot. We're getting them at a really good price here at the neutral site. Give me Yale laying the points. Next up, we'll go to the AAC as UAB takes on South Florida. This one's 3 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN2. Another semifinal game here in the AAC. And UAB is a really dangerous team right now, in my opinion. South Florida, of course, as well. The Bulls had one of the best ends to the regular season than any team in college basketball. But UAB was always a team that we mentioned on for yesterday's video when we took them against Wichita State. UAB was a team that had a slow start to the season. They were 0-2 in non-conference play. They were 4-5 at one point in non-conference play. They were okay in some of those conference matchups, but they were a team that we knew always had a lot of talent. While they lost some production from last year's team, they're still a very talented team, well-coached team, and now we're starting to see them in that conference tournament game against Wichita State, a 12-point win. It was a game where UAB didn't really even have the best shooting performance, and at least not to the standards we're used to from the Blazers. They shot 44.4% from two, 33% from the three-point line, only making 6 threes, and 64% from the free throw line. Yet they still win that game by double digits against a solid Wichita State offense. They had 16 offensive rebounds. They forced more turnovers. They only had 4 turnovers, UAB did, in that ball game. They are a very solid team. South Florida, give them credit. A huge blowout win against East Carolina in their first conference tournament matchup, but we know that UAB won the lone season series game between these two. That was at the very beginning of conference play, and I think this is going to be a really good game, really close one, and I'd want to have those points in my back pocket. I think UAB wins the game outright, but I'm going to take the points just in case. Give me the Blazers. Next up, we see UTEP and Western Kentucky in the Conference USA Final. This one's going to be an 8:30 Eastern start time on CBS Sports Network. The winner of this one punching their ticket to the big dance in the NCAA tournament. Now, UTEP, it's been a magical run for this team as they ended the regular season on a 3-game win streak after they were, 13-15 overall, 4-9 in conference play. Things were looking pretty bleak, but like I said, 3-game win streak to end the regular season. They beat Liberty along the way, one of the better teams in this conference. Then they beat Liberty again in the first game of the conference tournament. They took care of business against the number 1 seed in this conference in Sam Houston State. The last game, a 65-63 win. And you got to thank Joe Golding's experience against Sam Houston State, as they played against each other in the Southland, certainly, showed up in that ball game. Joe Golding has his Miners playing very, very, typical Joe Golding basketball. They are number 1 in the country in forcing turnovers, number 1 in turnover percentage defensively. That's exactly what Abilene Christian did with and during those years, we saw them pull off a huge upset in the NCAA tournament and be a dangerous team in the Southland for so many years. And UTEP's playing like that here. Not a great offense and not a great shooting team. They turn the ball over a ton, but they force a ton of turnovers. They get to the free throw line, and that can be really dangerous in tournament-style games. I think Joe Golding teams are really solid tournament-style teams, and that's why we see the Miners on a big run here. Western Kentucky, they were struggling quite a bit down the stretch of the regular season. They lost 4 straight games to Middle Tennessee, Louisiana Tech, FIU, not a great loss there, and Liberty. Yes, they've won the first 2 rounds of this conference tournament, but against teams that I don't really love, New Mexico State and Middle Tennessee. They were lucky to play Middle Tennessee in that last round because they, Middle Tennessee had a big upset against Louisiana Tech in the conference tournament. So Western Kentucky really hasn't been tested much in this tournament. I think UTEP is playing such good basketball. I don't want to go against them, especially getting points like this. Western Kentucky turns the ball over quite a bit, ranked 262nd in turnover percentage offensively. These teams split the season series in the regular season. I think UTEP's a very live dog here. Give me the points with the Miners. I'm going to sprinkle on the money line as well. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.